Today I plan on going over how I make a Mountain Dew Mead. It's fairly simple and straightforward. I found I can use the SodaStream Mountain Dew syrup. It works fairly well for making this. I am currently using Wyandotte County, a Woods Apiary or Apiary honey. It's a mild clover honey, kind of like. So it doesn't. It adds a little bit of honey flavor, but not a lot. So it just contributes to the Mountain Dew, but not. It adds much extra to it. Will you be using Premier Blanc and Premier Cuvée yeast in this one? And I have my ferment O to put into it, and I have water sitting here, and I'm waiting for the water to get down into about 90, between 90 and 98 degrees. Because when it's at that temperature, I can mix the honeys fairly well, and I don't have to worry about how the syrups get into it. So while let this water cool a little bit more, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in and my Mountain Dew, and then I will zero out my scale again, and then I will start pouring in 2 pounds of honey, and see where it goes from there. As you can see on the scale there, I'm just barely over 2 pounds of honey. It is still in the funnel going down, so I'll let that go for a little bit, and I'll keep checking my water. Because when it is down in that 90 range, I can start pouring it in to help the honey flow faster into the jug, and then I'll be able to shake it up and get it all mixed up. So after adding the water into the jug, I end up putting the cap back on it, or I find the cap and put it on there, or something to stop it up. And I shake it until I don't see any honey settling down. Now I'm going to let it sit for probably 5-10 minutes, make sure the foam goes down, make sure I don't see a layer of honey going back to the bottom. If I don't, then that's when I will fill it up to just above the 1 gallon mark, or here on the side, with water, and then I will put my yeast and everything else in. So I ended up letting the Mountain Dew syrup, honey, and 4 cups of water sit for probably well over an hour, because I went and made supper instead of just coming back down and finishing this. But as I can see here, I'm not seeing any real honey on the bottom. So looking up at it, looks pretty good. So now I'll fill it up with the rest of the way with water, and then add my yeast and yeast nutrients, and it should be ready to go. Today, as I was getting ready to take this up to the sink to add in more our water into the jug, I decided I was going to do something a little different, or what actually to me should be a little more making sense, is that I went ahead and put in my yeast nutrient, and in before I put the water in, so that when I was shaking it up to mix in all the water and make sure everything was mixed up quite nicely, I didn't have to go through and shake it multiple times. So everything is now in the jug. It's been shaken. The water was just barely above where it says 1 gallon here on the side, which is where I know that it is just above that is a 1 gallon. And with the way it's foamed up right now, it shows it's a little below that, but it's around that area. This should give plenty of headroom so that it shouldn't be able to foul up the airlock. But at this point, I need to take a gravity reading and know where I'm starting. All right, so it looks like my gravity reading is coming out to be 1106, maybe 1108. Hard to see with the stuff there. I'm not calling it an 1110 because it looks like it's far enough above the number that I'm pretty sure that's closer to a 6. So I'm going to call this 1106 and have that as my starting gravity. And now with an airlock on the top of it, that I can already see is definitely pressurized, as I put a little bit of vodka in there to make sure that its flies can't get into it, because I found with water, the flies can get through there. Or with the vodka, they don't ever seem to be able to get through there, but I sometimes still have to clean out to get rid of some flies in the beginning of it, but nowhere near as bad as when I use water or Star San. So now it'll sit for 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully in a day or two, it'll really start bubbling, and we'll see where it goes from here. So there'll be more. We'll see what it's doing in a couple of weeks, and I'll give more information on how I end up racking it and what it looks like at the end. I'm really happy with where this Mountain Dew that I started back on 4/15 and it's clearing nicely. Should be definitely ready to rack next week. This Mountain Dew that I did on Big Brew Day is still needs to go more. It's bubbling away, so it's probably got another 2 to 3 weeks before it's going to be ready. But usually this is a good example of side by side. When I see it clearing like that, that usually tells me it's about time to rack and ready to go. If it's still kind of cloudy like that, I let it go longer. So to finish off my Mountain Dew Mead, here's a glass I just poured out of the keg. It's nicely carbonated. I love the color of it. The color with the Wyandotte County honey is so much better than the color with the Cooper honey. Cooper just looks too dark for Mountain Dew. The Wyandotte County came out very nice. I love, as I said, I love the color. It looks like Mountain Dew. It tastes like Mountain Dew with a honey twinge to it. It's not as strong. The Cooper right here that I just racked and back sweetened, and you taste the honey a lot more. And especially when this one got as dry as it did, because it came out as a 994, it didn't have the sweetness to bring the Mountain Dew through. So I back sweetened it up to a 1.00. So it's at least better. You taste the Mountain Dew, but it's not as strong of the Mountain Dew as I would like. I may have to back sweeten it a little more, but since I just racked it, I decided I was going to let it sit, and we'll figure out from there. The Mountain Dew Mead that I came out with this, I love that 1010. That seems to be almost the perfect point for it. So that's where I tried to push the Cooper to, because the Mountain Dew does need that sweetness. So that would be the only thing that I would say, is that if I get it too dry like I've done the last few times, I definitely need a back sweeten. This one being 1010 was almost perfect. It goes back to some of the original ones where they didn't get quite fully fermented out. They usually stayed somewhere between a 10.5 and a 1020. 1020 to me was way too sweet. But I think that was also a Cooper honey, and I think that it kind of depends on the honey. The Wyandotte County gives just that little extra honey flavor, but you get the flavors of the other stuff through very well. So that would be how I'm going to end my Mountain Dew Mead, is that I'm very happy with that 1010, and that is I think what I'm going to try from now on. But this is how I've made my Mountain Dew Mead and how it came out after being in the keg for a couple weeks. It's nicely carbonated. When it's cold, it really tastes much better than it does warm. That's why I'm kind of with this, I'm kind of thinking, okay, it's warm, it's not does it have the flavors I want? This one, and I wasn't sure about when it was warm, but now that it's definitely cold and carbonated, that 1010 is just about perfect. So that's where I'm going to leave the end of the Mountain Dew Mead. Anything else that you want to learn about as I continue creating more and more Mountain Dew Meads over the years, as they will be on this channel coming up. So as part of the brewer's log, or even I may update my recipe at some point when I start changing it. So that's how I'm going to end this. And I was definitely very happy with the way this one came out. Good night.